I've been waiting all show to welcome Katey Martin onto the program. Played 199 matches across all three cricket disciplines for our country. And again, just the one test match, but 105 one-dayers and 103 one-dayers, and 95 2020 internationals. Katey, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Can I say first and foremost, thank you for representing our country with as much commitment as you have over 21 years. Thank you.
Oh, I think probably the thanks goes back to everyone else who's supported me along the way. We've had a few greys over the last couple of years, so I've had to deal with those, but it's been such an honour to play for such a long period of time.
Oh, lovely for you to say that. 199 matches. Oh, you're almost at the double century. Were you tempted?
To be fair, I'm not really a numbers person. You'll know that because I failed maths at fifth form, whatever the year is.
Yep.
I'm that old. I'll call them form still. But, so I wasn't quite sure, how many I'd finish with. I'm sure Dad probably knew. But, no, the time's right. I was getting a little bit older and less mobile, and the eyesight was going a bit. So, no, I felt like the time's right to step aside and give the youngsters a go.
Well, the Commonwealth Games, it's not that far away in Birmingham and everything else. And, to play in the Commonwealth Games would have been pretty special too.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I guess from a women's cricket perspective, the Commonwealth Games was never seen as an opportunity or a pinnacle event, and for other sports it obviously is. So for me, it's more about the timing. There's another few months of training, and for me, there's always probably going to be another tournament. I wanted the next wicketkeeper to have the best opportunity to succeed. So for them to have the next few months in the environment and hopefully go into the Com Games, which will be an amazing experience for them debuting for New Zealand if it's a new one, will be pretty cool. So, yeah, it's more about, I guess, others than necessarily me finishing in an event like the Commonwealth Games.
Katey Martin is with us, retiring after 21 years as the White Ferns wicketkeeper. Why did you choose keeping?
I have a really short attention span and I like to talk. I don't know. Sometimes I wonder why I play cricket. I'm very impatient as well. I just think you're always in the action as a keeper. I'm I guess a deep thinker of the game. And I like to have a bit of chat in the field, and you always feel like you're in the game, and you're sort of like a non-named vice captain as such. You learn the cues of players, and I've enjoyed sort of having a few yarns, words of encouragement to the batters as well, and getting around the teammates. So and it's also like the least amount of distance you have to run around the field. So it's only 20 metres back and forward. So as you get older, you sort of feel like that's long enough.
How are your hands? Because I always, I look at Perori's hands and also Smithy's hands and things, and they just get so battered and bruised and broken. Are your fingers all still intact?
I think I've got 8 out of 10 fingers that are broken. I've got one, the index finger on my left hand. I can point in the direction of right, even though I'm pointing straight. So, it's I'm not a huge fan of my little short stubby fingers. I think it's a keeper thing. I think Smithy, he's got small hands as well, but they're pretty battered and bruised. But you just always seem to get a knock every game. There's a knock on it, and then you call for the tape. So, they've had a life.
Yeah, they have. Look, and just explain to people who don't know about cricket what the ball feels like when you thud. I know you've got a big pair of gloves on, but it actually does. You still feel it, don't you?
Oh yeah, it's like it's like concrete really. If you get it in the middle of the gloves, it's a lot nicer, but sort of it's more when the ball nicks the fingertip or you get it right on the end where it's a little bit nasty. Probably why I got grumpy a few times about some of the throws.
Absolutely.
But if you don't catch it in the middle of the gloves, it's pretty sort of reverberates around the hand. I think as I got older, my eyesight wasn't as good, so it probably hurt a little bit more when I first started.
So did you wear contacts while you're playing?
I did originally, and then I think about 10 years ago I got LASIK surgery, which I think definitely made a difference in terms of my eyesight. I also found like when you had a few lemonades on a Saturday night, you forget to take your contacts out. So that was partly the other reason why
I know that.
I got laser as well. So you wake up and your eyeballs are burning. So but I found that LASIK sort of zoned in made the ball a lot easier to see, and a little bit better with that motion by being able to look left and right and up and down when you don't have to have contacts, and it was a little easier. So I would definitely recommend it to anyone that does play cricket, if you're wearing glasses or contact lenses. I couldn't imagine, on a misty day when you still have to be outside playing and you're wearing glasses. You sort of have to have the wiper blades on. So I don't know how people can play cricket with glasses. I definitely bow down to them.
So when you got your LASIK surgery done, this is Katey Martin, people who retired today after a 21-year career as the White Ferns wicketkeeper for us. When you got your LASIK surgery done, how big a difference was it that you noticed? Because when I first got contact lenses, I was in New Plymouth and I'd walked past my mother in the street in Wellington and realised I need it. And I remember walking out of the optometrist going, my goodness, that's how other people get to see? They see that?
Yeah, I could read the street signs, and that was very odd. But from a cricketing perspective, you felt like when you're in form as a batter, you always feel like you've got more time, so you can make decisions easier. And so when you can actually see the ball fully, the full roundness of the ball and the depth perception was improved, like it made such a difference. So that was probably the biggest thing for me. But when you play in humid countries like India or Sri Lanka, and your eyes do get really sticky and sore. Having the laser was such a massive difference. I'm probably due to maybe get a little touch up in the left eye, quite a bad stigmatism. So things are getting a little blurry again. It doesn't last forever, but I think it's definitely money well worth spending.
Katey, so the difference in women's cricket in this country from 21 years ago when you made your debut, I mean, can you just summarise it for us in terms of just, A, the support, B, the fact that it's taken seriously now that you've got competition and everything else, you've got so many more players. Is it worlds apart? I think it's the professionalism and, from a White Ferns perspective, obviously there's 17 professional contracts, so, predominantly you spend most of your time training and playing. I think when I first started, we got $30 a day for food, and I was working a full-time job and then having to train before and after work, and it makes a difference in terms of the quality of training. And then as the years have gone by, Australia and England invested in their teams. They put a heap of money in. They went professional. So there was such a long period of time there where it was, a number of amateur teams versus professional. So, you look at the likes of the All Blacks, fully professional playing teams that aren't professional. It's such an imbalance.
For such a long period of time. But the investment over the last, period of time has been fantastic. I mean, New Zealand cricket has really focused on women's cricket, and I think it's not just importance for the game, but also females make up such a strong portion of our population, and being able to have, mothers and girls into cricket, is really important in terms of the development of the game, not just for the women's game, but also the men's game as well.
Totally agree. And also, look, let's be honest about it. When you look at the crowds at the cricket, I mean, I don't know if it's a 50-50 split, but there's always been plenty of women and girls watching cricket.
Oh, they love cricket. I mean, the Black Caps, the success they've had over the last few years is they've reinvented cricket in New Zealand, and I'm sure that probably people have, wanted to learn more about the White Ferns on the back of that success, and, to look at the World Cup and I just got blown away by the stories of, we got sent so many messages saying, oh, my daughter's playing now backyard cricket with my son. It used to just be my son bowling to the wall by himself, and, now the daughter's out there and, being able to have it televised and people seeing it, and then the number of people at the games. It was just some unbelievable experiences for us. Eden Park, when we scored our first run off the bat, and the whole crowd was cheering, and you sort of go, well, imagine what it was like in 2015, sell out for the Black Caps against South Africa. So it's definitely changed, and I love to hear the stories, when 20 years time, when kids playing for the White Ferns saying, oh, I was there at Hagley Oval when you guys played Pakistan, or I was there when England and Australia played in the final, a sellout at Hagley by probably our two biggest rivals. That's such an awesome experience, and I know that even talking to the overseas players, they were just blown away by how much support awesome. The New Zealand public got behind the whole tournament.
Katey Martin is with us, 21 years being the White Ferns wicketkeeper. You've also obviously gone through the stage, after 2 decades playing, where you've played in front of no one. We're basically the umpires, and that's it. And a couple of cars in the car park and maybe a couple of seagulls, and that's it.
Yeah, well, Mum and Dad were there all the way through. So,
okay, good on Mum and Dad. Yep. Go on.
Yeah, so that's what we had. But yeah, no, it was definitely like that, and back in the day we had dial-up internet as well, so it was quite hard to follow it online as well. But yeah, it was, you sort of just had your friends and family support, and and we're all grateful for that. But yeah, to see the crowds get along, and hopefully on the back of the World Cup, obviously we weren't successful as a team, but in terms of the tournament, that people will continue to go along and support women's cricket. So yeah, there were a few. You could hear the birds whispering away.
Yep.
Maybe that's why I learned to talk so much at the game, because someone had to bring the noise.
Are you okay to keep talking for a few more minutes? I'm really enjoying this. Is that okay?
Yeah, no, of course, no.
It's called to 6 on the platform.
Well, I do now.
Yeah. So look, what went wrong during that one-day World Cup? Because a lot of us just thought that we were a really good team, that we were going to progress, or that the semi-finals were almost a given. In your mind, and talking with your players and all the debriefs and things, can you pinpoint some things?
Well, I guess there was a few close games that didn't go our way, and any other day they would. And I guess it's, responsibility as a player to get across line. I was out there in the game against the West Indies, and that's something that, that game has reverberated in my brain for the last 6 weeks. What could I have done? What shot could I have played differently in that? And it's just those little moments where the toughness of being in the fight and getting across the line wasn't quite there. We got ourselves into such good positions, but we weren't able to finish it off. And people talk about pressure. It's your own individual performances and responsibility to do that. And we had the skill set. The players had the confidence that we could do the job. But when a World Cup's a different beast, isn't it? And when you're in positions to win, and then you just don't quite get across the line, or certain things. Cricket's a bit of a luck game as well, and certain things didn't go our way, and you make your own luck as well. So we had it in our control, and we didn't do the job. And the girls are hurting so much about that. But if I guess I always look at the positive aspect that the core group of players should stay together for the next few years, which will hold us in really good position for the next World Cup.
No, that's such a realistic, honest response too. Having a male coach, Bob Carter, and I know this is probably a dumb question, but it's just the age that we live in right now. Would it be any different having a woman as your coach? And in the future, is it really important to have a woman coaching a women's team?
I think it's important having a woman in the environment, because they just understand females. I've always been about having the best coach possible, but I'm also big about saying we want to develop females within the game, whether that's administration.
No, the two can go hand in hand. This is what I believe.
100%.
Yeah,
and I think Bob's been brilliant. He's been really good for me. He's been a strong advocate, and in fairness to Bobby, he learned and adjusted to the way he approached the girls as his seasons go on. And he talks quite openly about adjusting the way and being more empathetic with the girls. And that's just there's a different nature about us. We care deeply about things, and not saying the guys don't. It's just there's different personalities and feelings that females have, and but definitely having a female within the environment to be able to understand and have the confidence to go to them, I think, is important. And I just hope that the game attracts females, whether that's in the male side of things and coaching men's team, or being involved in the White Ferns. I'd love to see that. Obviously, Sarah McGlashan's taken the under-19s, which is awesome, and she's a really well-respected cricketer and coach in her own right. And I just hope that over the next period of time, New Zealand cricket continue to support female coaches. And I'm definitely keen to help out coaching. Definitely not a head coach, because I'm not very nice. But
short attention span, you said.
Exactly. But I'd love to sort of help out and be an advocate for the game, and and it's those opportunities that arise from that. Hopefully, from club cricket and being involved in other areas. I think it is important. But I think ultimately as a player, you want to have the best coach possible to help you develop the game. And, and if it's a female, then great. If it's not, well, then what can we do around helping promote females within the game that have the capability to do the job?
Katey Martin is with us, 21 years as the White Ferns wicketkeeper. This next thing I'm going to say might be a bit awkward, and it might, the politics of it, you might not be able to comment, but I'm going to say it anyway. Look, I wasn't disappointed with the team. I was gutted, absolutely gutted for you that you never made the semis. What I was disappointed with was the advertising campaign around the Women's World Cup for our White Ferns. And I know it's got nothing to do with the players, and I don't know whether it's a combination of New Zealand cricket and Sky TV, but that campaign, nothing can stop us. I know, and maybe I'm speaking out of turn, I know that you players didn't want that because you're not like that as people. And when I see our best players go, nothing can stop us, and I'm thinking, oh, look, that to me just says that gives motivation to the other teams. If you can't talk or don't want to talk about this, that's fine. I'll move on.
I honestly haven't even thought twice about that.
Okay, that's cool.
I didn't really take too much attention on any sort of social media stuff, and that, I guess, all, for me was always focused about performing, and all of that other stuff is sort of outside of, I guess, what I look at. And so, yeah, I understand that was the slogan and stuff like that. And I mean, lots of things can stop you, old age and injury and bits and pieces like that.
Luck,
but,
bounce of the ball, yeah. Rain delays, all of that. Couple more questions, we'll let you go. Have you got a favourite match or a favourite innings or something that stands out of the 199 matches you played for us?
Yeah, probably we had Australia 4 for 4 at a T20 World Cup in India. That was pretty it was pretty awesome. I love seeing the Aussies
back foot.
on the carpet and complaining, which is nice. Usually when they're complaining, you're on top. So that was a pretty awesome experience. In 2009 we made 2 World Cup finals. I didn't play in either of those, but standing on the field, and Mum was in front of me while I was singing the national anthem. Those are sort of memories that you sort of can't forget. The last game in the T20 World Cup last year against Australia, where I was out there in the middle and needed to hit 6 off the last ball. That's one thing that, while it was a heartbreaking, I guess, sort of time, in terms of the innings and the absolute faith and belief that I had that I could win that game for the team, definitely stands out. And you sort of always look back and say, I wish I had that feeling every game. But yeah, cricket's a funny sport, and I was saying to Batesy today that you don't have cricket's not really a fairy tale game, and you owe it nothing. No one's ever above the game, and it can be a really cruel game. But then there's moments where it's just an absolute fairy tale as well. So it's a bit brutal, isn't it? I'm not patient, and there's not many fairy tales. So what decision did I make?
Well, look, I was going to say, I think you've already answered it. Look, why should young girls or women want to play cricket as a sport? And I just think that you answered it right then. And you said it with all the emotion that it is, because it can take you up, it can take you down, but what it does is it leaves you with all of these memories, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I've made best friends for life. I've travelled the world. Not just me, my family as well. Like, Dad was there in 2003. In India, holding a flag, and he was doing exactly the same at Hagley Oval in my last game.
Fantastic.
And Mum's had a tour to England. She goes on about it. She wants me to go to the Commonwealth Games so she can go
back again
for a trip to England.
Go on, yeah.
But I said I'll owe her a holiday to Fiji or something. So, it's not just me, but it's also my family that's been able to do that. My sister, I talked to her today, and she was really upset because she's sort of like, it's all over. We've had such joy out of you playing cricket, but I've had just as much joy about seeing them on the sideline. And Dad I said I'm not a numbers person, but Dad whenever I used to bat, so imagine 21 years, he used to get up and walk around the boundary and count my runs that whole time, and then when I got out he'd sit down. So there were some years he didn't walk too much, and other years he did walk a bit more than usual. It's just stuff like that, that's what it's
it's the human stuff. So. It's the human stuff. It's always the human stuff, isn't it? Look, I want to leave you with a little quote, and this was from Maddie Green, who I'm just going to read it out. She says about you, one of the best teammates you could ever ask for, someone you knew always had your back. That to me, I don't know any other thing that I would love somebody to say about me other than that.
Yeah, it's been, to be honest, it's been a really humbling day and quite overwhelming. I would rather have just cyphered off into the sunset and not had any attention.
No chance, Katie. No chance. That's
my humble Dunedin loyal girl in me. But yeah, it's really special words from Maddie, and like I would do anything for the team. And for me now, it's saying, well, what can I do to help out cricket in New Zealand and give back? Has really given me my life. So I'm just so appreciative of my teammates, the support, and also the fans. I mean, they make the game, don't they? So I just feel very humbled to have the opportunity to play for New Zealand and Otago for such a long period of time.
Well, from a dumb old fan, that's all I am. I just get given a microphone, which is an absolute joy. You played 199 matches for New Zealand, and as I said right at the very start, thank you so much for the commitment and the courage and everything that you've given us, our country, and playing with such heart and skill and love as you have for 21 years. And I hope that retirement is, well, you're too young to retire. I mean, you're only 37, but I mean, I hope that we get to see you in cricket for many years to come.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for the kind words.
Yeah. Katey Martin with us. Well, we've been talking for the best part about 25 minutes there. I didn't think it was going to go that long, but just thoroughly enjoyed that. And I hope you did as well. And if you've just joined us on the platform, well, we'll carve that up as we do, and we'll put it on a podcast. I haven't heard Katey on any other media or radio stations today, but certainly deserves all the acknowledgement and thanks and praise. It's a pretty remarkable career. I don't care what sport you're playing, and just the sheer honesty from Katey then answering those questions and what it means to her. And isn't that just, it's just so gratifying, wonderful to hear, is it not? That, you know, that after all of that, that is the human things that actually mean the most, and you know, and are going to be the fondest memories that she has. Lovely.
And that's the common theme when you find it's not just sport, it's all walks of life, when people are able to look back on that, and that's what it matters. It's the relationships, it's the people you do it with, it's who you are as a person when you come into it, but when you come out of it, it's that's what links up everything in this world. Is that? But also element,
just the humbleness as well, to say that it doesn't owe me anything. I mean, so many sports these days. I mean, we see it with professional footballers, and I'll criticise some of the Black Ferns, as a matter of fact, for this. You think you owed something. The game doesn't owe you nothing.
No.
It's a privilege to play sport, and it's a privilege to play for your country. And if you get rewarded, that's all great. But you can never sit there and think, it owes me.
That's the thing.
I mean, how much money would it have cost the Martin family over the last 21 years?
Oh,
probably tens, if not 100,000, probably more, in every single aspect of follow and support and everything else.
And you wouldn't change it.
And it's not like Katey's got rich out of this. It's not that, you know, she's got a home in Matamata with a stable of horses, is she? No. You know, I'm not making any aspersions by saying that, but I'm just saying that, you know, the women that have played for our country don't retire from cricket and then, they've got to go get another job.
Feet up, yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
So what a great insight into the mind of an athlete who has given her all for this country over such a long period of time, 21 years, and walks away feeling as good about the game as she does.
And I loved that quote you read out. Has her back.
Has her back.
That's and you said it right there. That's got to be one of the biggest compliments anyone can
ever.
get.
And it doesn't matter what walk of life that it is.